Good evening to you all. A very warm welcome to ETV News. I'm Grum Tariku. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed reiterated that Ethiopians celebrate the victory of Adwa for various reasons. In his statement for the 127th Adwa Victory Day, Prime Minister Abiy recalled that this historic victory was achieved by blood, sweat, sacrifices of Ethiopians from every corner of the country. The Premier further stated that putting internal issues aside, one needs to consider what the patriots paid in the ultimate sacrifices collectively to sustain indigenous identities, culture, freedom, sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ethiopia. The victory of Adwa is a precious gift from patriots to generations. Hence, we shall celebrate and protect it like a precious diamond. It is a spine that binds us together, the Premier underscored. He urged the current crop of generation to emulate the heroism of their ancestors by standing tall against local or foreign menaces that are conspiring to damage the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ethiopia. According to Prime Minister Abiy, the victory of Adwa is an eternal internal pride for Ethiopians. It is a treasure passed on from the patriotic ancestors for every generation to establish peace, development, harmony, unity, and perseverance, heroism, dignity, and freedom. The Prime Minister stressed the need to always remember the wisdom and collaboration of four actors of the achievement of one of the greatest victories of all time, such as leaders, the army, and the people in general. He went on to recall that Emperor Menelik II and Teget I mobilized, encouraged, and led the Ethiopian army wisely, despite several natural and man-made constraints such as famine and pandemic. The subordinate leaders of the army, the people, and local province chiefs also played an integral role during the quest to maintain the ultimate national unity, freedom, and sovereignty. Therefore, the current generation must learn from such national devotion, solidarity, and patriotism, he underlined. Today's Ethiopia wants those four types of heroes and heroines to stand together for one goal: leaders, warriors, defenders, and ultimate solidarity of the people at large, Prime Minister Abiy noted. A direction has been put in place to jointly solve the problems in Amhara and Oromia regions. Head of the Amhara Region Government Communication Affairs Bureau, Gzacho Mulune, said yesterday that the top leaders of both regions had extensive discussions on national and regional issues. He pointed out that the discussion was attended by senior leaders and effective discussion was held to solve challenges and problems in a sustainable manner by continuing good experiences of development and cooperation together. In his statement, the head of the Oromia Region Government Communication Affairs Bureau, Hailu Adunya, mentioned that the consultation was held in a way that would strengthen the good governance, development, and other social and political and economic relations that are being worked on between the two regions. He said that an agreement has been reached to solve common challenges and problems in reading. He said that the discussion will not only be decided by the leadership but will be held at every level with the participation of scholars and elders as well as other stakeholders. Adwa victory is not galvanized Ethiopians but also black people across the globe for freedom. They also underscored that the victory was beyond defeating Italy. Rather, it smashed the Berlin Conference constitution and policies that were supposed to scrambling Africa further. Goshumalso reports.
To 1885, 14 European countries divided Africa among themselves. However, the black boxes from all walks of life fought and victorious the enemy who came to humiliate Ethiopia. Talking to ETV, a historian said the landslide Adwa victory has not only galvanized Ethiopians, but also black people across the globe for freedom.
Adwa was historic. What made it historic? It was historic because it's not just simply the Ethiopians defeating the Italians, but it was about African folks, black folks defeating white folks, defeating Europeans, because Europeans have already assumed that they are superior. That would galvanize not just simply Ethiopians, it galvanizes all people, or everybody who is under colonialism. Okay? Anybody who's oppressed or exploited by Europeans would kind of see that not only a victory for Ethiopians, but a victory for all oppressed people. So that's what gives it a foundation for Pan-Africanism. It becomes a real foundation for Pan-Africanism. And as a foundation, it is a kind of reference point that you will always have.
Researcher on Africa and Middle East affairs Hassan Kasisai said the victory is beyond defeating Italy. It rather smashed the Berlin Conference constitution and policies that were supposed to scrambling Africa further.
We defeat Italians, but the Adwa victory is more than defeat Italians. It is defeating and crushed the Berlin Conference constitution and many policies, because that's the base. African scramble is started from Berlin Conference, and the Ethiopians gave to Italians. So the Italians came to invade Ethiopia, so based on Berlin Conference. So we demolish the Berlin Conference Constitution.
Historian Ayele Bekri, for his part, expounded that Adwa is a turning point in human history to show progress and spirit of capability.
Yes, it was a turning point. It was a turning point in a sense that we've showed the way we should go, the way we should make progress, the way we build our economy, the way we build our politics, the way we strengthen our society. All that, the model is Adwa. You see, Adwa becomes a model.
The researcher highlighted that Ethiopians achieved the monumental victory with wise leadership and unity.
Adwa victory is a great achievement for all this community, and the main group is Ethiopians, especially the leader, the command of Emperor Minilik and Queen Taitu, and they are the major part of the Adwa victory, and also their generals as well. And the Adwa victory is still shining with all the black community.
Ethiopia is to mark the 127th anniversary of Adwa victory on March 2 with various assortments.
Ethiopians don't celebrate Independence Day, rather Victory Day. On March 1, 1896, history was made. A poorly equipped traditional Ethiopian army composing of Ethiopians mobilized from youth of army, of peasants, artisans, women and volunteers from all walks of life and ethnicity marched to Adwa to repel Italian aggressor. The victory of Adwa symbolizes the first crushing defeat of a European power by African forces during the colonial era. It was an event that changed the course of black history across Africa and around the world. The victory of Adwa immediately ignited global resistance against colonialism in black Africa and anti-colonial movements across the globe. This is Meskel Square in the heart of Addis Ababa, one of the spots where the day is marked with pomp and fanfare. ETV English brings you the latest on Adwa and a host of other events this March. Keep it locked.
Ethiopians at home, according to Ambassador Shetit Lahun and at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Jonas Adae at the Addis Ababa University, should celebrate Adwa's victory in a colorful manner to demonstrate true patriotism to the rest of the world and an emblem of international freedom and defense of colonialism. The two officials also called on the youth across the nation to see the lofty goals of patriots and the values for which they had made sacrifices to interest an independent country, to the younger generation that had been secured and made undenying by the concerted efforts of the youth. Hassan Chani reports.
Ethiopia has completed all the necessary preparations to commemorate the victory of Adwa, during which hundreds of thousands of Ethiopians, regardless of their differences, stood as one and gave their lives to protect the nation's sovereignty. Ethiopians are honoring the brave forefathers and foremothers who made them live today in peace, freedom and dignity. March 1896 will go down in history at the month when the unthinkable occurred, the unexpected happened. More should have been written or said about Adwa's victory in history than has actually been done. The young researchers must delve deeply into the many components of this significant accomplishment. BBC English approached high-ranking government officials who stated that there are so many stories to be told about all of the protagonists of this massive Adwa victory that this endeavor requires every Ethiopian dig into it and record it.
The spirit of Adwa is very deep. It is a symbolism and the spirit of independence, equality of people of all colors, all nations, all corners of the world. That thought has never been in the thinking of many before the victory of Adwa.
Adwa is a paradigm shift in the world history where the black commanding over the white supremacy, at the same time making history and heralding that the black too have a mind, have muscle, have strategies. They can also determine, map, and at the same time create their own future. So that being the case, because this is a uniting factor of all black race together, the government, the public, the media must also bring people together on a common cause. And that common cause is, to be honest, a united Ethiopia on diversity basis.
The high-ranking government officials calling upon a youth to further strive to maintain peace and the development of the country and a spirit of mutual respect, trust and patriotism toward each other. They stated that such a legacy has to be bolstered for the nation's image and international arena.
Determination, sacrifice, independence doesn't come without cost. They paid their life and blood. Ours is only to pay our sweets and to lift our country, to maintain our pride. This pride cannot be there without economic independence. We can't be an island in the global economic system, but we have to compete and earn our legitimate place in the economic space, in technological, in political and diplomatic activities also. So the young generation needs to believe in unity of the country and also in competence.
Let's come together, the youth particularly. You are responsible for tomorrow's Ethiopia. It is your country, you are the leaders, you are another Menelik, you are another Abanefso, Dinagde. So therefore you are responsible. You have to stand up now. The time has come. Your fathers, your mother's victory must be once again shining around the world. And that's how you can create a brighter, better future.
Military attaches residing in Addis Ababa said that the Battle of Adwa, which ended with the ever-shining victory of Ethiopians in 1896, symbolizes African unity and Pan-Africanism. The Ethiopian army performed the unthinkable by defeating the advancing Italian force, according to the military attaché, and successfully defended its sovereignty. The Adwa victory, meanwhile, inspired Africans to come together and fight for their liberation from colonial rule. Colonel Rufai Umar Miargia, the Nigerian defense attaché, told the Ethiopian news agency that the victory obtained by the United Ethiopians during the Battle of Adwa is a representation of African unity.
Ethiopia is a symbol of African unity, and that's the depiction of the Adwa victory. So that one, all African countries, they will continue to look at Ethiopia as the symbol of African unity, and we hope with the commemoration of Adwa victory, the Africans will continue to unite against all form of colonization. Most of our Africans, they will continue to look at the victory as a symbol of unity and symbol of freedom.
South African Defense Attaché Colonel Goodman Hokwana said on his part that the Battle of Adwa happened immediately after Berlin Conference, which was referred to as the Scramble for Africa. He said that Ethiopia made a firm stand and said we are not to be colonized, and defeated the invading Italian forces.
And that became a very much motivation for the Africans that we can do. We can do. It became a motivation, and we would recall them thereafter. There was then a struggle by Africans throughout the African continent for the liberation from the colonizers.
Welcome back, and you are watching ETV News. Various activities that enabled the launching of National Dialogue in May this year have been underway, according to Ethiopian National Dialogue Commission. National Dialogue Commission Chief Commissioner Professor Mesfin Araya briefed today members of the House of People's Representatives and other stakeholders about the Commission's activities since its establishment. In his performance report, the Chief Commissioner said that several key activities, including the setting up of Secretariat of the Commission, have already been carried out with a view to commencing the National Dialogue. The Commission is working to launch National Dialogue this May after completing its first and second phases of activities, as well as starting the third phase, he added. According to the Chief Commissioner Mesfin, the Commission has designed procedural system to help identify participants, recruit moderators and facilitators of the dialogue, as well as organize, train, and gather and develop discussion agenda. Several discussions have been conducted on the procedure system with the pertinent stakeholders, including regional and city administration, it was learned. The 8th Africa Day of School Feeding Program was celebrated here in Addis Ababa with a theme boosting local food procurement system and regional value chains, the role of the African Continental Free Trade Area for sustained homegrown school feeding program and improved learning. Attending the event, Adanecha Abebe, Mayor of Addis Ababa City, said the school feeding program has brought significant results in Addis Ababa. Shagayo Matau will bring us up to the speed.
About 34 African countries are reportedly working on homegrown school feeding system in primary schools, according to sources from the African Union. Bringing together dignitaries from various African countries, the event is believed to be an indicator of the path to strengthen homegrown school feeding in Africa. Attending the event, Adana Chabe, mayor of Addis Ababa city, said the school feeding program has brought significant results in Addis Ababa.
The program also reduces financial pressure on families who may have difficulties to provide healthy food for their children by allocating 4.6 billion for a school feeding program per year. As an initial pilot project was launched in 2019, involving about 17,000 elementary school children. The project has now becoming a standard practice in the city by providing food for about 700,000 students in all elementary schools within the city and creates jobs for 16,000 mothers.
While sharing Ethiopia's experience in a school feeding program, Professor Branu Naga, Minister of Education, stated that the national school feeding policy envisions providing at least one in-school meal in a day in all primary schools children by 2030.
To ensure the sustainability of the homegrown school feeding program, the Ethiopian Ministry of Education has made it an integral part of successive education sector development plans, including its 10-year education roadmap. Most notably, a national school feeding policy framework with a costed strategy has been endorsed in July 2021. The national school feeding policy framework has set a vision of providing at least one in-school meal a day to all pre-primary, primary and middle school children by 2030. Furthermore, a national food and personal hygiene protocol for school feeding programs was jointly prepared with the Ministry of Health. The development of national school feeding guidelines and standards is in the pipeline.
According to Professor Mohamed Yassin, Commissioner of African Union for Science, Technology and Innovation, for his part, urged African Union member states to set aside appropriate funds for the program.
AU member states, the AU Commission, AUDA, NEPAD, development partners should ensure that homegrown school feeding related food systems be climate smart, more gender sensitive and sustainable. The AU Commission, AUDA, NEPAD and development partners should strengthen and leverage multi-sectoral and multi-stakeholder partnerships, including the Homegrown School Feeding Cluster and Global School Meals Coalition, adopting a business unusual approach with the objective of promoting a delivery as one spirit in implementation of our common goals.
The 8th Africa Day of School Feeding Program was celebrated in Addis Ababa, with the theme boosting local food procurement systems and regional value chains, the role of the African Continental Free Trade Area for sustained homegrown school feeding programs and improved learning.
Ethiopian Minister of Finance Ahmed Shide said that Ethiopia is looking forward to advancing and deepening the strategic cooperation with China as the relationship between the two countries are improving tangible results in various areas. Senior Ethiopian delegation led by Ahmed Shide, including Governor of the National Bank of Ethiopia, Commissioner of the Ethiopian Investment Commission and other senior government officials, has conducted a working visit to China to discuss bilateral trade, investment and economic cooperation between the two countries. Speaking with CGTN while in China, Ahmed Shide said China and Ethiopia enjoy comprehensive strategic cooperative partnerships. Bilateral cooperation has been elevated to a strategic comprehensive level several years ago by the decision of the two countries' leaders. Ethiopia is a testimony and a model when it comes to China-Africa cooperation, he said, adding that since then, Ethiopia and China have been implementing significant and extensive projects together. According to him, the Ethio-Djibouti Railway is one of the early harvests of Belt and Road Initiative. The project that has been implemented within the Belt and Road Initiative has proved to be very beneficial, he said. A two-day trade fair and conference that promotes German and Africa trade and investment relations will be held here in Addis Ababa this week. More than 2,500 German and African investors, diplomats, government officials and other stakeholders are expected to take part in this trade fair that takes place on the 1st and 2nd of March 2023. Economy, Culture and Press Section Head at the German Embassy in Ethiopia, Onur Yel, told the press that discussion will be held about the way of enhancing relations between Germany and Africa. In parallel, consultation will take place with German companies engaged in basic infrastructure, clean cities, construction, environmental protection, and digitalization, among others. It was learned. Regarding financial affairs, a discussion will be held with World Bank, International Monetary Fund, and representatives of Deutsche Bank.
The ambitious, but at the same time mischievous plan from the experience of Wuchale Treaty.
Adwa has never been a contribution of one corner. If someone comes and says, Minilik, you alone, that is a major fatal error. Tied to you alone, major fatal error. These people or that people, the North or the South alone, no. Ethiopians were one.
Let's talk about the reality of Ethiopians winning such a huge battle and then sending a message to the rest of Africa and to the rest of the world.
It is Adwa that decided the course of history.
Yep.
It is that gave Africa a point of departure. While others fall, Ethiopia rose to the horizon of victory and to decide the black world's fate.
And finally, Bola Tinubu from Nigeria's ruling party has won the country's presidential election, the electoral authority said in the early hours of today. Nigeria stayed up late into the night to hear the announcement. Tinubu is now expected to take over from the ongoing presidential Muhammadu Buhari. The election was held over the weekend and the results have been disputed by the two main opposition candidates. Koshumaliso has more from TRT World and Deutsche Welle.
Bola Ahmed of the APC.
With nearly 9 million votes, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is Nigeria's president-elect. The 70-year-old victory is credited to his overwhelming win across most states in Nigeria's southwest region, where he is widely regarded as a political godfather. A veteran politician, Tinubu's political career kicked off in 1992 when he joined the center-left Social Democratic Party. He won his first senatorial election a year later. The military regime of Ibrahim Babangida annulled the election results and took control of 2 years later. Tinubu fled Nigeria after many of his colleagues faced detention, but he never gave up the fight. Addressing his supporters after his scrappy campaign, he portrayed himself as a unifying figure.
We work together to put broken pieces together. We must work for the unity, happiness, and harmony.
Earlier, the National Election Commission confirmed the final results after a highly disputed vote.
Tinubu Bola Ahmed of the APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
However, party agents stepped forward to sign off on the results, but it was unclear if the main opposition officials did so too. On Tuesday, they called for new election following complaints about technical and logistical issues hampering last week's vote, concern shared by some of the strategists.
I'm not in a position to give an advice to whoever is at the top, but from my own opinion, I think they should repeat the election. That's it.
I would say that it wasn't a free and fair process because it was obviously rigged in every state.
Becoming president was a lifelong ambition for Tinubu. His campaign slogan was "It's my turn," but now he may have to wait for the court to their say.
Over now to quick reminder of the headline.